Hi, I'm David Tubb. We're here today to talk about another segment of the Dynamic Targeting Reticle, the DTR reticle. And I have this pointed into the sky right now, and I want to talk about the milling and the ranging capabilities of this scope. Obviously, at this point, I had a laser rangefinder on here. I'm going to turn it off for this. And what we've got is, if you look on the crooked Christmas tree sort of reticle out to the left, you'll see some isosceles triangles. You'll see one with the number 1 on it, one with the number 3 on it. Those are basically 1 mil graduations in between each one of those isosceles triangles. I never liked donuts or footballs or whatever they milled with, all right? I want a flat edge because where I'm measuring, I like square stuff to be able to touch it. So basically, it is 1 mil between each one of those isosceles triangles, and that also goes over a little bit to the left down the main bar. There's a couple of isosceles triangles where they kind of all meet in an L where you've got some right angle, quarter mil delineation. So you got 4 little right angles there, so you can mill a target. You set it on the bottom, and it subtends the top of it into the top of the quarter mil delineations, or if it gets far enough out, you'll just mill the entire target in those little quarter mil delineations. You can also do that horizontally, but I typically catch myself milling most of the targets vertically. Once you mill a target, let's say we mill a target, and as we've talked before, all of these targets that we're going to look at today are typically 2-foot targets. We're going to look at some E-type tall targets, but you can see the 2-foot target in the E-type. So if we milled a target that was 2 feet tall and we milled it at 1 mil, we go and we use that mill calculation graph in the top of the scope. And if you look up there, it's a Cartesian graph, so it works in right angles. So and this one's a yardage scope. If you had a meter scope, it'd be in meters. But if you go up the left side, you see where it says 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, goes all the way up. So we have a 2-foot tall target, and we milled it at 1 mil of height. So if you went up to 2 feet and you went down the line, the 2-foot line, until you ran into the angled 1 mil delineation line, that's how far you milled it, and then at that point in time you stop and go straight down, you find the answer. So 2 feet down to the angled 1 mil line and down is 700 yards. Let's say we did one at 3/4 of a mil, and obviously at that point we're working, you could have milled that 1-foot mill target with any of those milling scales. It could have been on the number 1 to the next one above or below, or you could have put it in the little quarter mil delineations and got the answer of 1 mil. The next target, if you mill it at 3/4 of a mil, that means that your entire target is going to be inside those little quarter mil delineations with the base of it on that isosceles triangle at the bottom. Excuse me. And it would subtend up 3 of those little quarter mil delineation marks. So it's a 2-foot tall target, 3/4 of a mil. Once again, go up the left side to 2 feet, go down until you hit, I think it's a dashed line. It is 3/4 of a mil or 0.75. And where those two intersect, the 2-foot line and that quarter mil delineation line, you go straight down, you figure out that target's 900 yards away. So we'll do that and range some. There's also another way that you can use this one, and that totally ignores anything other than being very fast, all right? And all of these work the same on all of the scopes, whether it was a 223 scope or a 308 scope or the 308 scopes or the 300 Win Mag or the 6XC, they all work the same way. Of course, it just depends if they're in yards or meters. So we're going to go and I have 3 targets out here, and we're going to run several little checks on them. Just go to the first one. And when you see this target, you're going to see it's a black and white target. And the white portion is a 2-foot tall portion, okay? And the other entire height of the target, if you add the black piece that's bolted onto it, it becomes an E-type silhouette in height, not in width, but in height. and typically an E-type silhouette's 39 inches tall and 19 inches wide. These aren't that wide, but they are that tall. So a real quick drill, if you had to shoot very quickly and you didn't have the time to do anything per se, I want to show you the 2 or 3 different ways you can do this, all right? The first one is we put the number 1 isosceles triangle in the very middle of the target, all right? And at that point in time, you can see that the mill above, or the isosceles triangle above and below, fit on that target also. So at that point in time, you ignore any atmospherics. Obviously, you have a gun that's zeroed, okay? But what you do, and let me get all set here, make sure the gun's level, is you put the 1 in the middle. You see that the triangle above and below easily fit. So all you do is you just move laterally across. You hold the wind if there is any, and I don't think there's any today here. Not very much. And you squeeze the trigger. Okay, you see that? Right, I'm going to do that one more time and I'll dry fire on it. Here we go. We threw the 1 in the middle and the 1 above and below fit. We swung over. Target is 450 yards away, thereabouts, all right? All right, let's do another one. Here's the same target at a different distance. Got a circle in the middle of it. You see that? Good place to put that 1, isn't it? See that? The number 1 isosceles triangle milling scale. Right in the middle on the belly button. And you see now that the mill above and below do not fit on the top and the bottom of the E-type silhouette. They are off of it. So if that indication exists with any of the scopes, you swing over and you put the 6 in the belly button. And in the 6 on a 308 or 223 would be lower, so you might have to swing up a little to put the 6 in, all right? But you should put the 6 in it. When you get the 6 in the belly button, what do? You shoot. Okay? Let's do that one more time. The number 1 in the middle, the 1 above and the 1 below do not fit. You swing over, you put the 6 in the middle, then you shoot. Okay? Hear the hit? You see it just a little bit up and right center. All right. Now by now you're kind of figuring this out, I think. Here's one. Can show how quickly this works. All right, see how easily stuff fits on that one? They go in there real easy, right? So what do? You swing over and you shoot. Okay? Very easy to do that. Very quickly. Now, let's go through and let's mill these targets. All right? We're going to start with this one. How about that? Now we're going to mill it. Now we're going to mill both ways to do this, all right? We'll mill the 2-foot portion first. So I'm going to put the 1 on the white edge, and you see that target subtends 2 of those 1/4 mil delineations, right? That's 1.5 mils tall. So if you go up to the mill calc graph, you see where it says 2 feet? You see, you traverse down until you hit the dashed 1.5 mil line. So you run into the 2 mil line first and the dashed, and it says that target is magically 450 yards away. All right? So here's 450 yards. Right here. Here we go. See that? 450. Now let's do it another way. Let's mill the whole E-type silhouette. All right? And it's a big, tall sucker. Look at that. Wow. So it's so darn big. It's 2 something. Look at that. So I put the isosceles underneath the number 1 on the bottom. And that target mills 2.25 mils high. All right? And that target's just a bit over 3 feet tall. So if we go up to 3 feet, It's actually 3 feet and 3 inches, okay? And you see the 2 1/4 mil? You see, if you go across to the 2 1/2 mil, the dashed line, it says it's about 400 yards. And you see where it was the 2 mil line intersects, it's 500 yards. And we call this target, what, 2 1/4 mils tall, isn't that correct? Yep, 2 1/4. So in between 400 and 500 yards is, guess what, 450 yards. All right, here's another one. I'm gonna mill this target. This target, looks like it mills 1 1/4 to me. Okay, I can't mill it in here because it's too tall, see? So, and I can't mill it down here because it's taller. That's just a bit taller. Cut the head off. So 1 1/4 mils. So go up, 2 foot tall target. We go down till we find 1 1/4. Now we have a 1 1/2 line. Do you see that? The 1 1/2 line crosses at about 450. And the 1 mil line crosses at 700. So the easy way for me to do that is to divide the two. 450 and 700, right, would be 1150 divided by 2, right? So that's like 575, okay? Or let's just go out in between the 1 1/2 and the 1 mil. Look like the big middle in between them both. It's 550, 560, something like that. 575. Here we go. It's pretty easy to figure out 575, isn't it? It's between 550, which is the one above the 6, right? Yep. In the head. All right. Now let's mill the whole target. The E-type portion. Here we go. There we go. Now we can put it on there. See the E-type? I put the 1 on the bottom. Looks like to me it sub-tends to 1 3/4. Okay? Kind of a white background. 1 3/4. All right. So, it's just a little bit over 3 foot tall. So we go down the 3 foot line. We see where we run into it at the 2 mil. All right. That's 500 yards. And the 1 1/2 mil, you see that where it intersects? Looks like it's, oh, I don't know, 660, 670, okay? So the difference between 660 and 500, it's 160 divided by 2, so looks like 580 yards, 585, just exactly the same answer we got milling the 2 foot target. And we go do another one. All right, here's another one. That one's 1 3/4 mils tall, okay? Maybe slightly more, but 1 3/4. So if we go down that 2 foot line on the white targets, what I milled, run into 2 foot, it says it's 350, okay? And if it was 1 1/2, it says it's 450, okay? So it's close to 400 yards to that target. Okay. Let's see how close it is. 400 yards. There you go. It's a little closer than 400. 350. Anyway. And same thing with the E-type. Okay, it's a big old target. Look at that. Wow. That target is going to mill, well, look at that. It's going to mill 3 mils tall. See that? I use the number 3 isosceles in the bottom. All but. So you go up 3 feet and 3 mils. You see that? 3 feet, a little more than 3 feet, of course. So that target says it's 340, thereabouts, 350. All right, now let's use this little scale on the right that we talked about. Here's a 1 foot graphing scale. You see that shot in the middle of the target? All right, so if I put that bottom bar in the middle of it, and by the way, it's the width and the height both, 1 foot, so you see that target is about a foot wide, okay? So I put that in the middle, says that target's just a little over 300 yards. Do the second one, do this one up here. in the middle of it. This is between 5 and 6. This one. Get this over here. Pretty much in the middle. About there. It says it's over 4. Anyway. All right. And then we'll do one that's a smaller target, okay? I'm going to change sides here. Go out here. Ammo. My golly. I need to get a round of ammo. Hopefully one round of ammo. All right, here we are. No laser rangefinder. Here's our target. It's millet, okay? Get that yellow target. Our yellow head white target. See that? 1 mil tall. See that? Fits there. Fits there. Fits there. 1 mil tall. All right. So that's 700 yards. If you look, go across 2 feet. Run across till you hit the 1 mil line. It's all but 700 yards. All right, 700 yards. Now I'm back to my, you notice we didn't have to do much with our ammo, but I had to change. I was shooting 3K ammo. Now I'm back to 0, so got to hold just a little closer, okay? So 0 minus 4 is minus 4. Minus 4 times 5 is minus 20. So 20 yards from 700, 680. Here we go. Notice how the wind's now from the left. Okay. So there's 7, there's 650. So 680 is right about there. I'm going to swing over right there. See that? Milled and hit that target. Good shot. Pretty much in the middle. Anyway, all in all, that concludes the ranging portion. There are a couple other ways to do it, but that's the main way. Is you can use the mills to mill and or the ranging scale and or the 1 foot scale. And if you know how to use the mill count graph, you basically get rid of all the mathematics and all the formulas and so on and so forth. If you can read right angle Cartesian graphs. Anyway, watch for us. Look at the other ones. We have the DTR, the Dynamic Targeting Reticle, how you use it. This was the ranging segment. We have the shooting segment. We have the moving target segment coming. We have an angle firing segment. And we have the baboon hunting segment. So when you get to all of that, give it a look. Look at it for it at davidtubb.com.